Okay, we are live. Welcome to the podcast, Abby. I'm so grateful that you are here. I actually wrote down a little intro, so that's why I'm looking down to introduce you to the audience. But this is cool because we worked together for many years. We worked at the same company. That's how we know each other.
That's
You
great.
were Yeah, you were the director of marketing. You have evolved into basically brand awareness, creativity, storytelling. But the intro I had written down was that you are a creative, you're a marketing leader, you're a writer, editorial director. You worked at Hallmark for a little over 14 years,
I did.
directing and editing there. I think that's how you got your start into marketing.
Yes,
And they're one of the largest distributors of cars. They're the number one distributor. And what people don't know about you is you're also a published author.
I
You're
am.
you have two books that are paranormal romances that you had published, and here they are. And you go under a different name as the author, right?
Yes, I do because I did not want my mother and father finding out, and also I did not want our CEO at the time finding out. But now I have no shame. This is something everyone will learn about me on this podcast. I really have no shame, and I also thought, you know what, lean into it. I'm
Right.
proud of what I've done, so let's just showcase it. So now I probably didn't need to use a pseudonym, but it's too late now. They're already out there in the world.
Hey, the more the merrier. Hopefully this will help boost some of those sales too. You never
Come
know.
on in, son.
But yeah, we're gonna link everything in the show notes too, so like how people can follow you, your books, anything that we can support you with your kind of next steps in your career and your personal growth. But I think it's really exciting because over the past few months, I've been following you on LinkedIn drastically, and I've seen you grow exponentially on LinkedIn, and I think it's a very hard platform to grow on just because it's very business focused. It's a business mindset. So you almost are in this threshold of what am I allowed to post versus what I shouldn't be posting because you're worried
Mhm.
about your coworkers or possible job offers. And I've been watching you just post because we both came from the same company. They were downsizing, so we're no longer there. But there's this kind of point where you have to come to it's like, what do I do next? Like, this may have been my identity for the last 5 years plus. I've always been in the same industry, but the job market has shifted so much in just the last 12 months. And
Mhm.
I remember seeing you post, like, hey, I'm excited for this job interview. And I think one of them was like the zoo, another one of them was like just different companies. And I see out of nowhere, like some of these posts are getting 500 plus comments, likes, shares, and I was blown away. I thought it was amazing, but then I also remember I'm like, man, you're being so positive about these outcomes. It's like even if you're not getting the job that you were really hoping for, it's like, hey, I didn't get the job today, but I had such a great interview. This is my takeaway. And I think that's really rare right now because it's so easy to get discouraged in a time where finding a job is not only a necessity for people to have tons of responsibilities, but you want to bring in an income so you can live the life that you want. And if you're not in a position where you can afford not to work, probably like majority of people listening right now, it's like, what do you do? Like, how do you still put yourself out there without feeling so discouraged because you think that maybe it's a me thing? Maybe it's I'm just not fit to have a job right now, and like I don't know, that's crossed my mind when I was looking for jobs. It's like I'm applying, I feel like I'm overqualified for these jobs, but you're not getting anywhere. You're not even getting in your foot in the door, and you're like, what's wrong with me
Mhm.
specifically? But I love seeing the growth. I think you're almost at 1,800 followers on LinkedIn, and
Yep.
it's just been week over week. Your growth is like 300 followers, which is amazing. But I really want to hear like how have you navigated that transition from going from being let go from one company to now I've got all this experience. I should be more than qualified for any of these marketing jobs because I came from Hallmark. I have the experience. I was at one of the top marketing companies really because they market to human behavior and human emotion.
Yeah.
So what's that like going through that transition period?
Well, it's the big thing you guys don't see is when I'm crying in my office when I don't get the job, right? And I think I actually made a post once about like, oh, I had a breakdown because I'm never going to get a job again, and then I applied to be a flight attendant. Um, so Brandon, we know each other. We've seen each other through a lot of seasons. So
Hmm.
you know that about 3 years ago, my husband had cancer, and then last year I had cancer, and that really kind of changes your outlook on stuff, right? Um, I have always lived my life by the principle of, you just got to soldier through. I mean, you can make a deliberate choice in your life whether you're going to be pessimistic about things or whether you're just going to accept it and roll with it, because honestly a lot of times you're not going to change the outcome, right? I can be sad and upset and pessimistic, or I can choose to be optimistic and know that something's going to come around the corner because I'm freaking Annie or Pollyanna and the sun's going to come out tomorrow, right? But again, I think a lot of it stems from my experience at Hallmark Cards, which, as you can imagine, is a very emotionally connected place. And so I worked on many of the card lines. One of the lines that I worked on for a short amount of time, but I really appreciated my time on, what they call the tough times line. So that includes sympathy, that includes cope, that includes helping you go through hard times. And so you have to do a lot of psychological digging when you go into this. And just one of the things I learned was the importance of keeping a positive attitude. Again, sounds so Pollyanna, I know. Um, I guess just through my entire life, I have just made the decision to be like, okay, this thing is happening. I can be upset about it, and that won't change anything. Or I can be positive about it, which also won't change anything except my attitude and my approach. And, times are hard for a lot of people right now. I get it. I see it. I see it every day on LinkedIn and Facebook and in the media. And it's just like this whole of awfulness. And I find myself coming kind of from a place of privilege because I did have the resources right now where I don't have to automatically grab a job just because I need the money. We had savings. We still have savings, so that's great. Um, but I guess I just, with everything that I've seen in my life, it's you're gonna get through it. I'm not a religious person, but there is that whole phrase of when God closes a door, He opens a window, and I just try and keep myself in that space because honestly, it's exhausting to be upset and pessimistic and sad and look negatively at everybody. And when you can make that switch in your brain to be like, here's what's good about my life right now. Here's what I have going for me. Oh my gosh, look at this. And okay, so this person called you and they asked the stupidest questions and then they basically made you feel like an idiot. Okay, that's their problem. If you can flip the script and just look for the good in your life and look for what is actually going well, it's a physical response, right? I mean, I know you're into mental health and wellness and all that, and there is such a difference when you can put yourself in a place where you're like, I am going to choose positivity, and you just feel better. It's so weird. Um, so I mean, that's just kind of how I've been navigating this era of life. Um, it is hard when you're let go. It's hard not to take it personally. I did take it personally.
Hmm.
Everything personally. I have taken it when they don't want me for a job. I take it personally. I will cry at the dinner table, just going like, "What did I do wrong?" Um, but no one needs to see that online. People don't need that. They're already feeling that. So, a comedy, there's a fine line between comedy and tragedy. I think there's an expression about that. And so if you can take a thing that could be a tragedy and flip it into comedy and talk about, hey, I applied for event marketer at the zoo and that would be cool. It doesn't pay anything, but I could go ride a giraffe or something. For some reason, that post particularly, people just glommed onto it, but I think there's just people are craving positivity and joy and silliness and authenticity too. I mean, just being okay with saying, yeah, things suck sometimes, but you know, the snow's melted and the final destination sized icicles that were hanging off of our eaves have finally come down and didn't kill anybody. So yay, great, we can go outside again. So I wish there was some sort of magic words I could say, or a magic button I could press, or a magic pill I could tell people to take to be positive. And it's hard. It's hard because, you know, um, serotonin really likes drama and trauma, and we get all wound up on the internet these days, and it's just so easy to be negative.
Hmm.
So we just have to choose positivity and just move away from that.
People just want like authenticity. They want positivity right now. Do you feel that there's been a shift over the years in the workspace or in just business in general where that is missing, where people don't have the authenticity that they crave? They're not seeing the positivity anymore. Like, what's been that like?
Yeah, so I know that your entire career has been in the staffing industry. I did not come to the staffing industry until 5 years ago, and so the majority of my working career was spent at Hallmark, which I feel is a very different demographic and a different culture than many corporate places. Obviously, I was on the creative side of things, so I work with designers and writers and editors and illustrators. And we creative people are kind of a crazy bunch. We liked to joke that Hallmark was one of the most medicated companies in the country. We all had imposter syndrome. We all felt like we were not meant to be there because everyone else was much more talented than us. But at the same time, as you can imagine, it was a very emotionally connected company. I have made, lifelong friends there. I met my husband at Hallmark. Yes, we're a Hallmark couple, so
Oh, that's very sweet.
that's sweet. So that just kind of gives you an idea of the of where I grew up, I guess, in kind of my job situation. So when I moved to staffing, a very different feel, right? I mean, it was very sales focused. It was a very, nitty gritty, performance driven, very competitive, very different from where I had come from. And I imagine, again, your audience may know, I don't know, but I kind of get the impression that that is kind of more the norm in jobs in corporate America. And just having come from a company that was very emotionally supportive, that was very focused and invested on relationships within the company and helping, make sure that your mental health was okay and, understanding that you are a person and yes, performance is what you're expected to do, but also we care about you as a person. Not that TRS didn't, just throwing that out there, everybody. I enjoyed my time at TRS. But if TRS was more the norm than what Hallmark was, then yes, I can see that people crave those relationships, right? I mean, we are social beings. We desire to belong to a community. Whether you believe that or not, or whether you accept that or not, humans are social animals. And so what I'm seeing on LinkedIn is those people who are making those, being authentic, being raw about their emotions, talking about the difficulties of, the job search or the difficulties in just in being in business right now. Those are the people gaining traction because those are the thoughts we think that we might not vocalize in a corporate setting, right?
Hmm.
So you go to work, you have your corporate persona that you put on your suit and tie or whatever. But then the real you is still inside and, reacts to what every human reacts to. Or animal reacts to. I mean, um, we, I'm getting pretty philosophical here, I guess, but, things aren't great right now in the world. Things aren't great in the workspace. People are feeling, disassociated. They're feeling scared. They might be feeling despair. And so nobody wants to hear about, this is what I learned about B2B sales. Nobody wants to hear that, oh gosh, the stock market is hitting record highs. That's great. But no one's getting any jobs. So,
Hmm.
you know, I, people just crave authentic relationships. I truly believe that, and that is what I have always striven to make. That is how I try to position myself. I do try to be professional. I'm not the greatest professional person in the world, and I sincerely hope my new job is okay with that. Um, I am professional. I'm tame. I'm cool, but also, you know, we're all just here floating on this strange little rock, and we only have so many years to be here. And so let's just, let's just be ourselves. Let's be authentic. Let's be kind. Let's reach out to people. Let's show people that we see them and we understand them and we care about them and we care about what they're going through. Can we help everybody? No, but sometimes someone just needs to know that you're there and you're listening to them, you're actively listening to them, and you really do care. And sometimes that can be everything to somebody. So that's what I try and keep in my mind when I go about my day and I connect with people, both on a personal level and on a corporate level, because not to be the COVID phrase, but we're all in this together.
Why do you think it's so hard for people to talk about, like, maybe not their failures, but the honest truth online, like on LinkedIn, talking about how difficult it is to go through interview after interview to get a job maybe that you've been preparing a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks for and not get it. But why do people not want to share that? Like, what do you think is stopping them or preventing them from being that transparent, authentic self online?
Yeah. Well, you have to be very vulnerable in order to post things like that or share things like that. And, that's scary. Being vulnerable is scary. You open yourself up for criticism. You open yourself up for feeling ashamed. You open yourself up for feeling like you are less than. And even though you might be the only person who feels those things, because generally if you're putting that out there, I'm sure that there are at least 99% of the people are not going to judge you for that because they feel the same way. But being vulnerable is very, very scary. And I think we know that. And a lot of times people just try to hide that or shove it down because they don't want to be judged, or they don't want people to laugh at them, or they don't want people to think they're a failure. And as I mentioned earlier, when we were not recording, I am an open book, and it is practically impossible to embarrass me. So I'm also very self-aware. I know my flaws. I know what issues I have. I know when I've, done messed up something, and I'm not afraid to own it. But you have to be really emotionally knowledgeable and understand yourself and understand that it is okay to feel those feelings. And I think for a lot of people, I've been saying this to a couple people online. It's okay to feel the feelings. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel like you're a failure. It's okay to feel like you're never going to get a job again. It's okay to be open and honest about that with people. You don't have to be completely open and honest with everybody, but I have found that the people that are important and who care about you want to know these things about you. I was talking to a friend the other day who was going through something, and was asking, how do I approach sharing this with people? Should I share it with people? And I said, well, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but when you choose to not share that with somebody because you're worried about how they will react, or you're worried about if they're going to worry or something, you are being selfish. You are taking that choice away from them. And you will find that people who care about you, so for example, let's say it's me. Let's say it's me, and I wasn't going to tell people about my cancer because I was worried they would worry. I am taking their choice in the matter away from it by not sharing that with them. And then I also like to turn it around and say, how would you feel if someone you cared about didn't tell you something like that because they were worried? And they were like, well, I would of course worry, but I want to know. So it's like, yep, there you go. So,
Hmm.
Yeah, it is hard. It is hard to open up to people and be vulnerable, and because they might hurt you, but that's okay because that's life. And you'll find that most of the time you will be surprised with the resilience and the care that you will get from people around you.
Who taught you to be so self-aware and so resilient growing up?
I have to thank my parents and my immediate family. I have an amazing family. We have always supported one another. They have always encouraged their kids to, just be the best people they can be. Um, Little fun fact. So I'm the oldest, and I'm the creative in the family. My brothers are aeronautical engineers and computer scientists,
Oh my
and
gosh, complete opposite brain.
I got a liberal arts major. So, but, my parents, God love them, they never made any of us feel like one was better than the other. And they always supported my weird dreams. At one point, I was going to be a musical theater major, and I'm sure they're thrilled that didn't happen. And I am too, because I like having a 401k and health insurance. Um, but they encouraged me and they supported me. Even just recently, when I got a job at Trader Joe's, which I couldn't do, and I'm so sad now. Um, my parents had never been to Trader Joe's before, but they went to visit a Trader Joe's and they took
So
pictures and they
funny.
sent them to me. So I have always been surrounded by people who lift me up and who lift each other up. And so I guess I just kind of learned from that. And when I went to college, I surrounded myself with people like that. At Hallmark, I surrounded myself with people like that. I'm married to someone like that. So um, I'm fortunate, I guess, that I was always surrounded by people who uplifted me. Um, but, again, it's an active choice too. There were times when I was younger that I didn't feel like I was that awesome, you know, but again, it's a choice. So I'm,
That makes you human, so
yeah.
so you have to have a little balance there. And so do you
Yeah,
think that having that mindset and cultivating just that level of positivity and being your authentic self attracted similar people to you? Because you talk about like you've always been surrounded by really good people that are lifting you up. But for someone that maybe is around people that doesn't encourage them and doesn't want to do that, do you think it has anything to do with the way that you're portraying yourself and that you're showing and how you're showing up authentically to around those types of people to attract them to want to be around you?
I think so. I mean, I'm a big believer in putting out the energy that you want to attract. And it's hard if you're surrounded by people who are consistently, down talking or negative or being crabs in a bucket or something. Um, so I do feel like I attracted like-minded people just because I am self-aware and I comport myself in such a way that that's how I live my life. Um, I like to think that I also attract people who want to be that way, but maybe necessarily aren't, so that I can kind of, help them. I don't know how many people I've helped do that, but I do find people are willing to be vulnerable with me and open up to me because I am a very non-judgmental person and I care about people. Um, so, I do think that the energy you put out in the world comes back to you in whatever way, shape, or form. So, I guess my advice to anybody out there who's listening who doesn't feel that support, who doesn't feel that level of, upliftedness, um, it's hard. It's hard to change your attitudes or the people around you. You can't change people. But I would say, start looking in a different direction. As Don Draper once famously said, if you don't like what they're saying, change the conversation. And that's a phrase I kind of live by in terms and adapt it in different phases of my life. Um, just because, we can't change how people act, but we can change how we react to them and how we comport ourselves.
Love it. And what's funny is I'm in the middle of season 3 of Mad Men, and I never watched that before. So Don Draper is like the goat of Mad Men. For anyone that has not watched it, it is a really cool, basically old school marketing. That's the best way to describe it. Like they're going from putting stuff out in the paper to getting into video and audio and everything. But he's I don't know how accurate it is to like what happened back then. I feel like they did a pretty good job of portraying what it was like, but he is just focused, does not matter what is around him. Like he's gonna
Uh-huh.
walk over anyone to hit
Yep.
his goals and to make it happen for himself, but it served him really well. I think it's interesting that you have maintained such a positive like mindset throughout all of this without being spiritual at all. Like there's no kind of religious affiliation whatsoever, but I find a lot of the authenticity, the truth, wanting to help people is very tied spiritually to a lot of stuff. Have you ever explored what spirituality looks like or even like
Oh,
gone into that kind of
pardon.
chapter?
The angels are coming.
I see, there it is.
Um, I was raised Presbyterian, so I do have a religious, aspect in my life. My husband was raised Catholic, and his family is still very Catholic. Although I don't subscribe to any particular religion, I do like to consider myself a spiritual person. I believe in the energy of the universe. I believe in the collective unconsciousness. I believe in karma. Um, and I'm open to what that means. If I don't like to put a label on it. I don't like to put a label of God or goddesses or whatever. But I do believe that there is an energy in the world, and if there is a higher power, which I'd like to believe, um, he, she, it is not anything we can comprehend. It's so, I'm not even going to try. But I do know that when good energy gets put out into the world, it comes back. So, um, although I guess if I was going to choose something, I'd probably be a Buddhist because I really like their vibe. And they're all like, don't harm anything, and love the animals and even the bugs and all that. And that's kind of how I like to live too, because I just try to make the world a better place. So if there was a God out there, hey, that's my jam. So sorry if I don't know your name properly, but can I come to heaven? So. And also, you know what? If there is one or if there isn't, why not live your life as if you want to put good energy in the world? So
hmm
there's no
Yeah,
reason.
why not leave a mark while we're on this earth for such a short term, like we're definitively not going to be here forever.
Yep.
So unless Brian Johnson figures out a way to live to like 300, 400 years, I don't know if I'd want to do that,
I
but
only if my 401k grows with it, and I get a
as
good job.
long as
And
it compounds for all that time, then we'll be okay. But I wanted to touch base because I know you mentioned it, is that you did get a job at Trader Joe's, which I've shopped for pretty much my entire life. It is a great place to be at, but when I saw that post originally on LinkedIn, I feel like it took off. Like so many people were liking it, just commenting, sharing it. But I really want to know what that feels like mentally to get to a space where you were essentially a director at Hallmark, one of the biggest companies out there for marketing.
Mhm.
What does it take mentally to go from saying that is my current status, that's exactly what I want, to go into that mindset of like, hey, I have no problem working at Trader Joe's. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think it is a different career trajectory, right? It is a different shift from being in a corporate environment to now you're working on the floor with groceries, it is different. But what's that mentality like switching from like going from Hallmark to looking at this excitement about Trader Joe's?
So I've been working since I was probably 15 years old, and my first job was playing piano at a ballet studio. And then I worked in food service through college, and I was a waitress at our local country club. And then I had a little jobby job before I got to Hallmark. So um, I've worked in some capacity in any way, shape, or form in my life. And then when I worked at Hallmark, I freelanced consistently. I did, so I like money. That's a big thing. Um, when I applied for the job for Trader Joe's, um, I was at a place where I was like, I need to get out of the house. I need to go do something. And I was pretty burned out from applying for jobs. I was applying for, dozens of jobs a day. I was having interviews for jobs that, paid less than what I was making, that I was completely overqualified for, and they still didn't want me. Um, And I just kind of had this thought of, you know, how nice would it be to go work somewhere where I just show up and I make people happy and I put groceries away and I get some exercise while I'm at it. Gets me out of the house. I meet people. I'm talking to people. Everyone at Trader Joe's is happy. People are happy to shop at Trader Joe's. That sounds great. You know what? Why not? And around the same time as this was happening, I had some contract freelance opportunities just kind of drop into my lap. So I was like, okay, well, this is great. I can go and basically get a workout for 8 hours a day. I can come home and do writing, creative writing, which is really the thing that I love most of all. I love writing and content creation, and I can work on my books and get paid for all of this and get a 20% discount on groceries. So
That is worth its weight in itself.
yeah, so it really wasn't a big shift. It was really more, and also they have health insurance, guys. They have health insurance.
Mm,
Yes.
it's
So
amazing.
I know. So I didn't really have to do a big mental shift. The biggest thing was that I had anticipated that I was going to be able to get a job after I got laid off from TRS within 2 months. I did not. It took 4. So after the 3.5 months hit, I was like, I got to get out of the house. It's been a hard winter. It's been boring. It's been cold. I've been doing nothing except sitting and eating. And so this was just like an opportunity to be like, okay, something new. So no job is, I never have felt any job is beneath me. I have never felt that like you're less than for working at a grocery store or something, because guess what? Those are the recession-proof jobs, guys. Those are the ones that AI is not going to take.
That is
So
true.
there
Not
you
yet,
go.
anyways.
Not
Not
yet.
yet. Speaking of I think that so many people are scared right now of just hearing that word that
Mm.
currently has a job. I think I saw this interview, it was with Jack Dorsey or some other entrepreneur that said by 2027 or 2028, he thinks that 99% of jobs that are done on a computer will be done by AI.
Yeah.
I don't know how realistic that is, but that is still nonetheless the way that we're moving right now with
Right.
AIs. We're seeing tons of companies that are maybe tech focused or whatever the case is, laying off a lot of their staff because AI can do the job of 10 people
Mhm.
at a fraction of the cost.
Yep.
What are your views on AI in the marketing space overall? Because a lot of that is digital.
Yeah. So y'all can fight me in the comments. I'm excited. I am a huge proponent of AI. I think it is an amazing tool. Yes, I know there are environmental impacts, and yes, I know that there are philosophical impacts as well. Don't get me wrong, I'm a creative, so I've heard all the things about the writing and the designing and the videos and all those things. But I'm also a pragmatist. It's here, it's not going away. However, I heard it described very well once by one of the people I think who actually helped pioneer some of the innovations in AI. AI is like what happened to art when the camera was invented. Prior to that, the only people who could do the art were the painters, the drawers, all those things. The camera came about and it allowed you to capture an image. So, did the artists go away? No. It just shifted. It's a tool. It's like a hammer. It's like a computer. Remember when computers came about and everybody thought everyone was going to lose their jobs? Yeah. That doesn't help right now because obviously people are very obviously losing their jobs right now. However, something I'm seeing in the marketing space, and I'm speaking from a content creation side of things as somebody who does writing and very bad designing. Um, right now we've kind of got some AI witch hunts going on, which I get. But just like with anything, like with CGI, like with Photoshop, like with all the other tools we've had that have come out in the past 20 years, first of all, people are going to know. They will be able to figure out what's CGI. They'll be able to figure out what's AI generated. And we're seeing this on LinkedIn, Brandon. We're seeing all the posts that sound exactly the same, that have not this, but this. And honestly, that's brave. All the things. People are savvy. People are going to, people will figure it out. And ultimately, we are going to need the humans to stand behind the AI and use the AI in ethical ways, but to also take it and understand this, okay, this isn't working. People want authenticity. They want that raw voice. They want real artists, making their art. And this is something that my husband and I have a lot of conversations about as creatives. AI is lowering the bar for a lot of things. It's lowering it in the workspace. It's lowering it in the creative field. In some ways, it's helping to level the playing field. So the people who are going to succeed in this new world are going to be the ones who embrace it and use it to make themselves even better. It's not something that you use to replace. It's something you use to augment. It's kind of like, unfortunately, when the horse and buggy went away because of the Model T Ford. People who made horse whips a lot of them went out of business. So we have to adjust. Do I like the fact that we have to adjust? No. But it's here. And I use AI a lot. I think it has some amazing properties, and it's really great. And I love it when I'm building like a summary deck or something and it helps me. So I don't have to. Great with research, it's all the things, but we need the humans behind it to do it. I think we're seeing a pendulum swing back from all AI to people who are like, I don't think I want it anymore. But one thing I would challenge the Sam Altmans and everybody is the phrase from Jurassic Park. You got so excited thinking about if you could do it, you forgot to ask if you should do it. So one thing I would like all these people to know is that when AI takes all of our jobs, who is going to buy your stuff? We will all be broke, and we will have no money to buy your stuff. So think about that.
That's true. It's interesting because when you talk about the horse and buggy and then you switch from horses to horsepower, right? It opened up factories of cars, which then they had to hire hundreds and hundreds of engineers to fill and people to work in the factories themselves. So instead of making one whip, you have 10 guys making cars now.
Yep.
So I think it's interesting because I haven't thought about AI in that regard until you mentioned the horse and buggy, where it's like, yeah, we can be scared all we want about AI coming to take over our jobs, but if we just embrace what is coming, because you can't avoid the tsunami of AI that's hit. Elon Musk says it's a tsunami that's going to hit us. It's just a matter of when. And I think that if you go with that mindset, it's like, do I want to be stuck in the middle of that tsunami hitting the shores, or do I want to be off to the side watching it hit? And I think that there's just so much that we can do and be proactive about with just being willing to learn it. I think that's what it takes, to just be open to learning. It doesn't mean that you have to become a master of it. It doesn't mean that you have to like everything about it, because as things shift, it's always uncomfortable. We want to know with certainty what's going to happen tomorrow. Uncertainty is such a scary thing because I think it questions our identity. And that's what I felt. It's like when you lose a job or you lose a relationship or you lose a friendship, it's you question your identity, which is why I think getting rejected from jobs that we want hurts so bad, because you feel like your identity is getting rejected and you're saying your identity is not good enough, good luck.
Yeah.
And it hits on a deep level, especially the more emotional you are as a person. And I think that I've seen tons of AI videos right now on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and the more I'm seeing them, I'm like, I can't even tell some of these if they're real or not, which makes me automatically say I don't appreciate it if I think it's an AI video versus if it's like a real like Marvel movie or something. I'm like, all the time and effort I know that each person had to put into making that scene look as good as it does, you appreciate it for the art, which is what you said. It is you need to master the tools, but don't let the tools become your master. And I think that's something that we can embrace for people that are coming out of high school right now, because I think we're starting to see a shift of less people going right away into four-year colleges, because not every company is requiring a college degree anymore. So for those people that are just coming out of high school, maybe a lot of people that are graduating college right now, what advice would you have if they do want to go into marketing and they're coming into this space of, I don't have 14, 15 years at a Hallmark, so I don't really have the reputation, the work history. What can they do right now to kind of be proactive about this whole AI shift in marketing?
I would say to all you young folk, first of all, I feel for you. I would not want to be in your position. Um, but one thing that has always served me in my career is to just be prolific about absorbing what's out there. Watch the movies, get online, be on social. I know we all hate social media. It's fine. Just know what's going on. Understand what is going on in the world, what is hot in culture, what's, just be a sponge, absorb it. Find what you like too. You don't have to be a master at everything. Yes, I know that's kind of the thing like for a marketing generalist, but find what you like. Find what you really like and then do the stuff that you like. If you're still in school, make videos. I don't know if people do blogs anymore. I don't know. I'm old. Um, do TikTok. Find the thing that you enjoy, that you genuinely enjoy, and take what you can from it. Learn it. Learn the analytics that go with it. Yeah, here's the thing with jobs, you got to do stuff you don't like. I'm sorry. Trust me on this one. I would much rather just sit and read books all day. That would be my lifestyle. Um, but reach out to people too. Reach out to people like me or people in your life that you know. Ask them questions. Ask them if you can, I don't know, help them with projects or that type of thing. That's how I got my start. I reached out to people in my network where I grew up and I did websites for people for, right after I graduated from college, and that's how I got my first job. So, don't be afraid to ask for help or, try different things and don't be afraid to fail. It's just yeah, follow the brands that you like on social media and see what they're doing and what it is that you like about it, and you know just absorb the media. And I'm not just talking about internet and TV. Read books. You know, understand what's going on in the world around you, and just be open. I can't say 100% that if I was going to go and do this again, I would do marketing. Part of me is kind of like maybe I should have gone to the trades, but that's not a given either. But find something you're good at and something that you enjoy doing, and it doesn't have to be exactly what you love, but have it be something that you're good at, and then you will find that work is a lot easier in general. I
I
hope
love
that
it.
inspire you, children.
Oh, I love it because it's really kind of going against the grain, right? Like telling people to follow things that they genuinely are curious about, they're interested in, not following this predisposition path of saying, this is what every marketer does. This is what every marketer should go into. These are the companies that marketers are being hired for all the time. It's like, hey, pursue your passions, pursue what you're curious about, and then navigate from there. There's not one linear path that you're just gonna get on and it's gonna go up the entire time. And I think that's the misconception, at least for me and a lot of my friends when we were in college. It's like once you graduate, you're gonna get the job and you're gonna kind of be done. Like you're gonna get the job and you're gonna just coast up the ladder and you're gonna look 20, 30 years down the road. And I think that served population back in the day, but right now we're living in this time where there's so many opportunities, almost it's confusion, like it's analysis paralysis, where you're graduating and people are like, what do you want to do the rest of your life? That question used to scare me so bad that I would cringe when people would ask me that. And I think it's really, there's this quote that Warren Buffett says, it's like when people are greedy, you should be fearful, and when people are fearful, you should be greedy. And that's what I've has really stuck with me at least the last 2 or 3 years since I heard it. It's going against the grain, right? And if
Right.
you want to be living a happy, fulfilled, truthful life that's authentic to you, you cannot follow the majority of the path. You cannot follow all the other sheep going through this small opening that the shepherd is saying you have to go through here. You want to be the wolf in the pack and go your own way. You want to be the black sheep. You don't want to be in the same 99% of people. You want to stand out to live an authentic, truthful, extraordinary life, because otherwise you're going to just live an average life. And I think most people listening to this podcast, they want an extra in their life. They don't want to be the same as the person next to them.
Well, I don't know about you, Brandon. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. So everybody, this 45-year-old is still trying to figure that out. So I hope that's a little bit freeing. You don't have to know right away. You can change. My husband has reinvented himself many times over. So don't be afraid of that. Just be willing to, sometimes you might need to work at Trader Joe's for a while, and that's okay. Because you know what? They ring bells and they wear Hawaiian shirts, and that's very fun.
And they're very happy.
They're
Like
very happy.
everyone, every time I go in there, you leave with your money less in your bank account, but you always feel way better. You feel emotionally and physically. You're like, I feel healthier. I feel like I'm getting out. I'm
Yeah.
around people that are very high energy, and it's just a good environment. I think that's what it takes to be different, right? You have to
Yeah.
cultivate that, and you
Yeah.
want to look outside of. There's a Trader Joe's over by me that's right next to Ralph's, and the second I walk into Ralph's, I feel like the energy is dragged right out of me, and then I walk into Trader Joe's, and I get re-energized like a battery. So
It's so great.
I I
It's so
think
great.
that that's a very true
Yeah.
statement.
So I'll be a little honest and authentic with you guys right now. For anybody who's like, what are you talking about? You need to go do this, blah 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 blah. I want to make a lot of money. I also like to make a lot of money, but I had a job where I was making a lot of money, and I wasn't necessarily fulfilled. And so these past 4 months have been a good study for me in helping determine, like, okay, what do I really want? What what do I really need to be happy? What do I need to be fulfilled? And although most of us would like to say, yes, having more money is better than not, and yes, money is great. Money makes a lot of things easier. But I kind of almost feel like I'm at the point in my life, in my career, at least in this era, where I just want to make, I just want to make the money so I can pay the bills, maybe save a little. I don't know if I'm going to be climbing the ladder anymore. I don't know. Do I want to? I don't know. It didn't really necessarily seem to make a lot of people happy at my last job. So I don't know. Does that really mean anything? So
Do
just
you
saying.
think that you would have had that level of clarity and be able to kind of look introspectively on what you want to do next if this layoff didn't happen?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Just because I was in a different headspace during these past 5 years, I chased the role that I thought I wanted. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I leveled up when I came to TRS, um, and I enjoyed my job. I enjoyed my job. There was a
Hmm.
lot that I really liked about my job, but there was a lot that, as I've been sitting here in unemployment, didn't necessarily. There was a lot that didn't bring me joy, and that's just the nature of a job being a job. But it also was really good for me because as I've been searching for roles, I found myself pivoting away from more of the marketing director type of roles and going back into more of a strict content creator situation, copywriting, brand management, that type of thing. And this job that I just got at this new company, based on everything that I'm hearing so far, it's all going to be stuff that's going to bring me joy. So, um, I'm really excited about that. I'm excited to see what this looks like. I'm excited that I have freelance work again, and I'm working with a company right now that does licensed products for some of my favorite licenses: Harry Potter, Supernatural, ACOTAR, Lights Out, all those
Love
things.
it.
I know. I mean, like, who gets to do that? That's so cool. Today I just proofread a Harry Potter calendar because that's what I'm doing now, and so it's just I feel like
Amazing.
I feel like that if this layoff hadn't happened, these things would not have come into my life, and I'm very happy that they've come into my life, and so I'm really excited about this new era and what this new chapter is going to look like, and on one hand, I'm the little girl in the meme who's like, I have to work and it big girl job. I have to go to the office. I'm also very happy about it.
Yeah, it's the yin and yang, right? We always have those opposing forces. Like when you're working all the time, you're usually thinking about like, oh, I want a break, I want to take a vacation. But then when you're not working, you're unemployed, you're like, I really need to like get physical. I need to get out there. I need to get out of the house. And I feel like there's always these opposing forces. But one thing for certain is Tony Robbins says this, if we do not have any progress in our life, we will never be happy. Like progress equals happiness. We have to be moving towards something that we are pursuing that's meaningful to us. And you talked a little bit about this is failure, right? Like failure in life. Maybe you're graduating from high school or college right now, and you're like, I don't want to fail. Like you're almost trying to avoid it. What are your thoughts on failure in life, and how do you look at it?
Failure is a necessary part of life, guys. You're not going to be able to get away from it. And that's okay because you learn from failure. The biggest part about failure is that you need to make sure you're in a position and surround yourself with people where they don't see failure as a fault. A lot of companies will say we aren't afraid of failure. They are. Um, the trick with failure is to learn from it, and that doesn't mean like you fail one time and you're never going to do that thing again. That's just not how it works. But I mean, that's how great inventions happened. I can't remember, was it Edison who did like 200 different
Uh,
types of
he did
light before he
a
found
thousand light bulbs before
thousands?
he found the right one.
Yeah, nothing is. It's lightning does not strike in a bottle like that. You will not be successful with everything you do, and that's okay. And I think this goes back to being self-aware, Brandon.
Mm,
Um, it doesn't mean that you're a failure. Just because you failed in something does not mean you are a failure or you are less than. It just means that didn't work. So I come from an engineering family, so um,
failure is necessary for all those engineering
necessary.
projects.
And so like there are projects that like, and my husband will happily say this to you that I am the one who goes and like tries and troubleshoot things because I'll be like, okay, this isn't working. What needs to happen? What if I do this? What if I do that? And
Hmm.
so you know, yeah, no one likes to fail, like fail, and I've failed many times in my life. I've made big screw ups, and it's not fun. But um, you can't let that break you. It's just what it is, and that's life. And you're gonna always be your own worst critic. So just be nice to yourself. Tell yourself, don't talk about my friend that way when you're talking bad about yourself. And then just learn from it and do better next time.
Hmm.
And if you don't know how to do better, then ask somebody because again, going back to the situation I talked about earlier, people want to help. Generally speaking, people want to help, and they might want to see you succeed, especially if you're a young person. Trust me on this, young people. Us old really want you to succeed, and we want to help you. So ask us, and we will help you. Life point, life tip.
Yeah, we're in the age where it is the easiest it's ever been to reach out to a mentor, someone you look up to, and have direct access to that person. Like 20 years ago, you could not get direct message by someone you've never met online to a CEO of a company. You're like, I would love to interview you, or I would love to pick your brain on stuff. These CEOs genuinely want to help kids, and I've heard tons and tons of stories. Like the more you reach out, it is just a matter of time before someone reaches or responds to you, and now you're getting your foot in the door for a connection that could serve you 10 years down the road. And I think that it's so easy to be scared of like not getting what you want, like getting that rejection or someone saying, no, of course I would never help you out, or you send the message and you don't hear back, like sending out a job application for a job you really want, but they don't even acknowledge you. And then a month later, they're like, we regret to inform you that we've closed out this position, hired someone else that was better suited than you. I think it's just you have to shoot the shot because you never know if it's going to make it unless you do.
Yeah. Story time, kids. So when I applied to Hallmark Cards, they had this thing. You went on the careers page and you downloaded a writing exercise or a writing little portfolio thing, and you had to fill it out. So you filled it out. I looked at it and I'm like, what's the worst they can say? The worst they can say is no. So I downloaded it and I filled it out, sent it in. 2 weeks later, I get a call. They want me to do another one. So I did that one, filled it out, sent it in. 3 days later, they called me and they wanted an interview. Long story short, I got the job. But when I went into my job that first time, they said, how did you get the job? And I said, well, I filled out that thing online. And they're like, no one does that. No one gets a job from that. Absolutely nobody gets a job from that. That is amazing. So, guys, the worst they can say is no. Just like Brandon said, shoot your shot, because they might say yes.
You never know, especially nowadays, where if you're doing the opposite of the majority of people, you could be part of that 1% that does succeed, that does get the job, that does meet that connection that turns into the mentor that shapes the rest of your career. And I think that goes for all aspects of life, not just business. It's like find that person you look up to for health and fitness. Find that person you look up to for your spiritual well-being. Find that person you look up to for just growing as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Because without mentors, like no great person would ever exist.
Nope.
Like we all learn from failures from other people and what not to. We also learn from successes of people that we can emulate and copy. And there's this quote that Tony Robbins says, it's when you succeed, you party. When you fail, you ponder. And I think it's in that pondering phase that you learn the most about yourself. And that's, at least for me, like throughout my entire life, I can remember every failure as if it was yesterday. I cannot remember every single success. I don't remember every party. I do not remember everything that I've gotten an accolade for, but every failure I 100% remember to this day. And I can see how much I've grown because I made it through that failure and I used it to learn not to repeat that, but I've also been able to share that experience with other people to prevent them from making that same
Right.
mistake. So you always want to pay it forward. You always want to be, like you said, putting out that good energy because what goes around comes around. And I think there's just this level of scarcity mindset where it's like I can only make this amount of failures, this amount of mistakes in my life. Otherwise, I'm going to be outcast. Otherwise, I'm not going to get the dream job, the dream relationship, the dream friendship, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we need to normalize failure. Like Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, she said that every night at dinner, her dad used to ask her what she failed at that day. It was never like, oh, like how was your day? What did you guys do? What was your grades on the test? It was what did you guys intentionally fail at today to learn? And I
Mm.
think that's just I think that's why she's been so successful, but it was
Yep.
just not only her, I think it was her brother and everyone else at the dinner table, but I love that like in the future I want to be repeating that cycle. It's like why can't we talk about our failures more openly online
Yeah.
without that fear of judgment?
Yeah. Yeah. So let's be the change we want to see in the world. Let's do it.
Yes. I want to be respectful of your time. I know you've got a million one projects you're working on everything, so I definitely want to appreciate that. But I just want to touch on one last thing before we kind of close out is throughout everything, like on your career trajectory, there's been ups and downs, but along with that, you've dealt with a lot of like health challenges too, specifically going through cancer in the last couple of years. Your husband had cancer before that. I would just love to hear how you navigate that from a positive mindset and from believing that even though like worst case scenario is happening to me, like how do I get up and still show a smile? Because I remember on calls and even when I was calling you, like no matter what I feel like phase you're at, it was always a huge smile. It was always a positive attitude. It was always like I might not have hair now, but I'm gonna have hair in the future. And I think that it's just so easy to play like the victim card of like, why is this happening to me? Instead of saying like, why is this happening for me? Like, how do I use this and kind of push forward and have that mindset of like I'm gonna like military through this thing, but at the same time having a good attitude about it because I can count on like my hand how many people I know that currently are going through cancer treatment. I think everyone listening knows one person or has experienced it themselves directly. And it seems to be a growing, unfortunately, thing in our modern society here in America is like, I think the stat is 1 out of 3 people is guaranteed to get cancer in their lifetime, and that's probably going up right now. But for everyone that's going through it, everyone that knows someone that's experiencing it, like what is that like while you're trying to balance a career, while you're trying to balance being a wife, being someone as part of a family of multiple siblings. It's like how do you balance everything and still show up with a smile on your face, even if you're feeling like the worst you've ever felt?
Ooh, that's a good one. So again, it sounds so easy and flippant, but this entire journey, My approach to it has been a choice. You know, I can choose to say, why me? I can choose to be sad. I will say it's a lot harder when you're the spouse watching your spouse go through cancer than it is to be the spouse
Mm,
going through cancer. So I just want everybody to know that for the caregivers out there, it is hard. It is hard to watch your loved one go through something and you can't do anything about it. And that was the worst for me. For me, my cancer was easy because I'm like, okay, it's happening to me. That's good. I got this. Um, I so for me, with all the things that went on, everything, I chose to be thankful about it. And I'll get on my soapbox here for a little bit. Everybody get your genes tested. Everybody do your preventative screenings. That's how we both found our cancers. We did the preventative screenings. I found out 10 years ago that I have a gene mutation that makes me very susceptible to a bunch of cancers, which is how my cancer was found last year. So instead of being upset about it, I chose to be thankful because I did the screenings and they caught it early and it hadn't spread. And so it was all self contained. And so, how wonderful is that? If I hadn't had those screenings or I didn't do the tests, or if, my husband's PSA hadn't risen and we didn't know that his brother had the same type of cancer, you know, we could have gone in 2 years from now and everything would have been throughout our bodies, stage 4, very extensive process for chemo and that type of thing. So how lucky are we that we were able to catch it? And that, yes, we had to do surgeries and chemo and radiation, but how wonderful. And I just tried to keep reminding myself of that as I was sitting in chemo with people who were going through their third or fourth rounds of chemo, and who were older than me, and just didn't, they weren't reacting as well to the drugs as I did because I was young comparatively. Um, I just choose to be grateful, I guess, and just choose to accept that um, this is the journey that you're on, and you can be pissy about it, or you can accept that this is how it is. And one thing I would like to tell your audience, Brandon, is that cancer is not a dirty word. Cancer is just a jerk. He's a bully, and I don't like bullies. And one of the things you will learn if you are unfortunate enough to go through cancer or know someone who's going through cancer, it doesn't have to be as scary as it sounds. Things are amazing. The medical industry is fantastic these days. The treatments that they're coming out with are amazing. I mean, it's just like, it's mind blowing to me. I think that was part of the thing I was so excited about when I was going through my treatments, is just learning about all the different things that they have. Oh, and the doctors and the nurses, they're so caring, and they do care, and they want you to feel better, and they know what they're doing, and they see it. And everybody's rooting for you. It's kind of cool. On some days, I kind of feel a little embarrassed because people are like, oh, you're so brave. You're a warrior. I'm like, not really. I'm not. Thanks, though. I appreciate that. But, it's a journey. It's like, okay, I got to take a 20-hour car ride. Okay, got to get in the car. We're going to drive for 20 hours. That's kind of how cancer treatments felt for all of us. So
mm.
at the end of it, it's like, yay, the car ride's over. So this is a long way of saying I choose to be positive. I just choose to be positive. And that sounds so flippant, but guys, if you can make that switch in your head, it's great. And that doesn't mean I didn't feel sick at times. That doesn't mean I wasn't upset when I lost my hair for about 15 minutes.
Do you think that?
Did you know that your head can be hot and sweaty and also freezing at the same time? I did not know this until I lost all my hair, and it was so annoying. I hated it.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Hmm.
Huh. I I mean, I think it's just amazing to show up while you're going through just such a difficult time with the body being drained all the time. Like, I think it takes a very special muscle that has to be used and exercised to kind of cultivate that in a way. But what advice you have for people going through it that are a spouse that are watching their spouse go through cancer treatment and they're just feeling so helpless. Like how can they show up for them for their spouse, or even if you're in a relationship, or like it's your best friend, or someone that you genuinely really care about, that you spend a lot of time with,
Yeah.
that is currently going through one of the hardest times in their life. Because you said it was harder for you to watch than it was harder for you to go through the actual cancer. So how can people show up for their loved ones?
First of all, you are allowed to feel all the feelings that you're feeling right now. And so is the person that you're dealing with. One of the things I learned working at Hallmark on our Tough Times lines and all those things is that um, humor is okay. It's okay to laugh at stuff. It's okay to make jokes. We had so many jokes about my cue ball head. It was great. Um, life goes on while you have cancer, and it doesn't stop. And so it's okay. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to not be okay with things. It's okay to find funny things that happen because bodies are funny. Let's just be real. Um, and just know for the person going through it that you might not be able to do anything. And the hard thing for me is when I hear somebody complaining or talk about something, I want to fix it, and you can't always. So sometimes you just need to be there and listen and just say, yeah, it sucks. It really sucks. I think for a lot of people too, when someone is going through something difficult, they don't know what to say because they're worried about saying the wrong things or doing the wrong things. I'm here to tell you that is, you cannot, there's nothing you can do that is going to be wrong. And it's okay to show up to your friend and say, I don't know what to say to you right now. But I love you and I'm here for you. Um, you know, they always say not to ask, what can I do to help you? Do concrete things. Say, I'm going to the grocery store. Give me your grocery list. I'm going to go pick up groceries. Or I'm
Mhm.
coming over to clean the house today. Or we're going out for ice cream. Um, just, there is, your loved one and your friends are the same person. They just have cancer, and that's not a big deal. So just
Mhm.
treat them like a normal person. Let them talk about stuff. Don't get, ask questions. I was an open, Brandon, I was an open book during my chemo. I also was the person who went out the grocery store. I didn't wear a wig. I didn't wear a hat. I was bald. I wanted to normalize it. I wanted people to see me out and about. I wanted small children to see me and then ask their parents, why is that lady bald? Um, so just show up. Show up. Be there. It's okay if you don't know what to say, and you can tell them that. Just just we're the same people. We just had cancer for a little bit. That's all. And it's okay if it's
Powerful,
hard. Yeah.
super powerful. I mean, I think a lot of people just need to hear that, like, whatever they're doing is it's okay, like it's the best to just show up and be there for someone, and kind of taking that action out of their hands. Like, I'm gonna go do your grocery shopping. I'm not even asking if I can. I'm gonna go do it. Like, I'm gonna be there. And I think it's just those little acts of service that show them that it's like, hey, I'm still here. Like, I'm not going away anywhere.
Yep.
Um, I really appreciate you being on this and just being vulnerable, and sharing your story with everyone going through trials and tribulations right now. I think as a whole, at least for me in my lifetime, besides COVID, I think this has just been a really strange and difficult time in terms of like career wise and navigating like what people want to do next in their lives. So I love the authenticity. I love the energy. Really grateful that you're just so willing to show up to the world as your authentic self and have the courage to be different without fear of being reprimanded, of being like called out, whatever the case is, just showing up and showing other people. It's like we need to be acting this way. We should not be acting like we're all perfect individuals because no one is perfect here on earth. So I really appreciate that. How can we support you in your journey with your books, with following you on LinkedIn? Like how can we support you best in your next chapter?
You're so lovely. Brandon, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. I love talking to you. I loved working with you, and I'm just so glad we're staying connected this way.
Likewise.
If you guys want to support me, there are many ways you can support me. Come find me on LinkedIn. I'm funny. I write parodies of Broadway musicals, and I put them on there, and I post pictures of my cats, and I love them. And then you can follow me in my new journey as brand manager for Oliver Packaging. If you enjoy what I like to call monster smut novels, please download my books. They are free on Kindle Unlimited. You can also download the ebooks, and I also have hard copies available on Amazon. We'll drop the links below. You can take a look, and you can follow me on Instagram. I do have a writer Instagram. I don't post there as often as I do on LinkedIn, but I love to hear from people. I love to support people. I would love to hear what your favorite book recommendations are because I love to read. That's like my thing. That's what I do. I sit and read. Um, but yeah, so join me, follow me for random life updates and silly songs and sometimes insights about B2B sales. So there you go.
We're gonna link everything below. It'll be across all networks. All the show notes will be there. They'll have the links for the books, for social media, for LinkedIn, for everything. And you start your new job next week, right?
I do. I do on the 9th. So I'm really
Awesome.
excited. And I have to actually go into an office. So I got to wear hard pants. I'm not really sure. I have to make sure they all still fit. But
It's always an adjustment, but I appreciate it, Abby. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your week.
thank you. You too, my friend. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.